all of the DJs that we get an opportunity to sit with are DJs that not only do we know, but we have worked with, right? And I've worked with this brother on the left. He's an amazing spirit. I can't wait to get into his story. I can't wait for you guys to be introduced to him and his journey. So we're gonna go with it. I'm gonna introduce to some. I'm gonna present to others my brother DJ CEO.
My brother.
What's up?
What's happening? Cheers to you, man.
Cheers, indeed.
Cheers to you.
Indeed, indeed.
Is that volume too bad for you, Kai?
No, I just want to turn it down a little bit.
It won't go down anymore.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. If you want, I can exit out. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I was just trying to make sure I brought in more eyes. So if it's too bad, just let me know.
Okay.
So this year already, I know you was at Charlie. Shout out to Charlie. I popped up at Charlie's birthday party.
Oh yes, Charlie. Yeah,
and
yeah.
that spot is crazy.
Yes.
Old New York looking spot. What's the name of it?
Saint. Yeah.
Then I missed you at Ace Hotel. Another crazy spot. So you done hit 2024 running. Like you off and running already.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I had to. Coming out of 2023, I was a little, I want to say I was a little off. Like I was disappointed in certain things. I expected to close fourth quarter stronger than I did.
Right.
I just was kind of in a little bit of a funk. And then I had a couple conversations with some close people in my tribe. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Gideon. Shout out to my sister Ashley out in Atlanta. Another Bison, Ashley McFarland. Shout out to my homegirl Diz, another Bison. I just kind of been having conversations with people. And they really just poured into me and kind of had to remind me, like, dude, like, you got to stop acting like you're not who you are.
That's a real conversation.
And after those conversations, yes,
Right.
I've been attacked in 2024 like, I am who I know I am. So.
Before we get started, I got to pause for the cause for a minute because I got to shout out my brother and his brand called Kamiki, right? So, shout to Lex, right?
Kamiki.
Kamiki is the name. You can follow him at Brooklyn Basquiat. But we've been talking about getting this brand on the show for some time. And not only did he send us the whiskey, but he sent us a whole, as you can see, we've been drinking. We've been touching all of it.
I've been drinking.
This
This
is the rum. That's what we drinking. I got a little rum punch there. We got the gin. We got the vodka. This is some more whiskey. Very smooth, very capable, very nice brand. So we'll put it in the, once we post this, we'll tag them as a brand. But hit up Kamiki, hit up Brooklyn Basquiat. Shout to you, Lex. So yeah, I want to get started with you, brother. First thing I want to talk to you about, we got something in common. I was a Mets fan when I was a kid.
Diehard Mets fan.
Right, but I grew up, I'm a little older than you, I grew up watching that 86 Mets team.
Yeah.
Rafael Santana, Tim Tuffle, Howard Johnson,
Kevin
Mitchell,
Ray Knight.
right, all Strawman, Ron
Doc,
Garland.
Carter.
Yeah, tell me about that growing up, being a Mets fan.
So my dad was a diehard Mets fan. It's so funny, he told me something that I didn't really know, right? Because when I'm born in 81, right? So Mets won that World Series.
You was 5 years old, right? I was 11.
Right.
Yeah.
So my dad was born in 48. So a lot of black people who were in this, baseball, because baseball was a big thing in the black community during that time.
Facts.
They were all Dodgers fans. Brooklyn Dodgers fans.
Because of Jackie Robinson.
Right, because of Jackie Robinson. And I think during that time, the American League was like insanely kind of racist in how they did things.
The Yankees were the last team to have a black player. Elston Howard, he was a catcher.
Yes, so that's why he was like, he would never be Yankee.
That's my fault. That's my father was also not a Yankees fan because of
right. So when the Dodgers left, right, those fans that were here were kind of just like, what do we do? And then in 60, when did the Mets come? 64, 65, something like that?
63, I think.
63, something like that. They automatically, all the Dodgers fans became Mets fans.
Right.
So it was just ingrained. So when I grew up, it was, from 1 year old, we was at Shea Stadium. And my dad actually went to one of the playoff games in the 86 run. I think it was when they were playing Houston. But yeah, I have a Strawberry and a Kevin Mitchell jersey. Me and my boys, I have a bunch of my friends were Met fans. We always trying to get to games. I didn't know that you were Met. You still a Met fan?
Absolutely.
You're right. So yeah, let me know.
Absolutely.
We could definitely roll.
Absolutely.
Big Met fan. You know, and it's been that way since. I don't know anything else.
But it's that story, and it's funny that you mentioned that because I lived the same thing with my pops.
Mhm.
My pops was not a Yankee fan
Yeah.
because of integration.
Yep.
Right? And so what happened was in New York, before the Mets, you had the Giants, the Dodgers, and the Yankees.
Yep.
Right? Black folk never liked the Yankees coming up.
Yep.
It was always the Dodgers with Jackie Robinson, and then the Giants because of Willie Mays.
Yes.
So when the Giants went to San Francisco and the Dodgers went to LA, it left a hole for black people with regards to being fans of baseball.
Yep.
So the Mets, when the Mets came and they was cool as shit,
Yeah.
the players was cool, right? They was bums early.
Lovable losers.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they won in '69
They won in '69.
and then they won in '86.
They won in '86.
Right.
And then also on top of that, like everything that they kind of incorporated, like blue and orange are the actual official colors of New York State, right?
Right.
They seem to be more New York than anything else,
Right.
Right. And so we love them, like hard nosed, hard workers. Like we're gonna show up, we're gonna have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always a big fan of the '86 team just because there's a swagger, like if you're from New York that you walk around with, that '86 team had. Like they had their phrase was, when we come to your city, we're gonna drink your beer, we're gonna take your women, and then we're gonna beat your ass.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that not New York?
That's so New York.
that is
That's
so New York.
And I think other than Joe Namath, who is iconic for his moxie, being a New York dude,
Yeah,
that '86 team got it locked down.
got it locked down.
I mean, he was doing a lot of coke.
A lot of
He was
coke.
doing a lot of coke.
A lot.
They got it locked. They got it locked down in terms of that.
Yeah.
Tell me about you growing up. We grew up in the same neighborhood.
And the same number, which
Yeah.
is wild because how much later in life we met.
Right.
Because I was friends with I think your younger sisters or your cousins.
My
or something.
sisters, yeah.
Yeah, I knew them
Right.
through Emmanuel. And then all the other people in Emmanuel, we would all kind of just hang out on a block or
Right,
whatever.
right.
But yeah, I grew up in Clinton Hills, 309 Lafayette Avenue.
Right.
On the corner of Lafayette and Grand, hence the name of the clothing brand, Lafayette and Grand. And I grew up in a time much not different from yours where, it's not the Clinton Hills people know and love today, right? It was rather rough.
Right.
But growing up, I'm so grateful for my parents and my family, like very, very close knit. And my dad actually played semi-pro baseball.
Oh, word.
Yeah, so baseball was like really kind of like my first love.
Right.
It was that and music,
Right.
It was music all the time. It didn't have to be a holiday, nothing. Just random Friday, my aunt and uncle, his siblings just come to the house, music on, and we partying. Like that was my life.
Now, I know your sister, she's younger than us. She's like, what, 7, 8 years younger than you?
She's 6 and a half,
Okay.
5.5, 6.
Okay, so my sisters are 5 years younger than me as well. So there's always it's like that gap, right? Where everything I was doing, they wasn't doing it until they got to that age.
Right.
So in a way, we're like only children, not in a real sense because we got siblings, but in a sense of you were outside before she came outside.
Way before. And then on
Right.
top of that, just the difference. I'm a boy, she's a girl.
Right.
Like there's certain things I can't bring you on. I can't, whatever.
Certain missions you can't go
You
on.
can't go on.
So tell me about growing up and being outside in Clinton Hill. Because like, for example, people don't understand. I was telling somebody the other day, I was at Peaches. And I was like, yo, this block
This is Grand Avenue?
hot. Grand and
Nah,
Clifton
B.
used to be
Nah.
hot.
If you gotta go through there, just fly
Yeah.
through. If you don't know nobody,
Hot.
just get through there because
Hot.
Grant Avenue I explained to people like Clinton Hills is very weird growing up. Like on my block, it was nice, it was decent, and then you cross the street and you're on Grand, and that Grand and Clifton, it's like hell. Like hell happened.
Yeah.
And then you cross, then you kind of get past that, you get past Green, and it's sort of decent, but only on the right side of the block. This is before they built
Right.
those row houses.
Right.
I could remember staying on, my boy, he stayed on Grand, staying at his house and waking up to screams because somebody found a dead body And the park, it was a park before those row houses.
Right, you're talking about between Lexington and Gates.
And Gates.
Yes,
it was
I remember. It was a park, right.
But for me as a kid, the park was always a bench. Like, it was never nice.
You could never, right. No,
it was never
wasn't
nice.
never dealing with that.
Like, it was basketball courts with no hoops. It was just, like, it was terrible. And so, growing up, I remember, so my best friend, Jay, lived, like I said, he lived on Grand. So, like, growing up, let's say it was, like, a really bad snow day. And, you know, we was like, yo, can I stay at so-and-so house, whatever. And I remember one time, like, I had to pack my bag, and we was going through Grant. This is like 88, 89, whatever. And, like, we was just flying. Like, we didn't want to stop because the block was just so hot. Like, we just ran through. And the cats that was out there, they was older than us. So they don't know us. We don't have those relationships. It's not like the kids on that block that we came up with that we was cool with. It was the cats that, oh, we don't know them. So we just like flying through there, and my bag was open. It was snowing outside. So like my socks and under, you gotta think about it, it's the 80s. So it's like everything's white, tighty whities, all that shit. Fucking just left it, kept going because it was really bad. Like, it was really bad.
So we had a friend, Kyle, I'm gonna tell you off air who I'm talking about. But there was a friend of ours that went to Tech that lived in your towers.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't grow up there, but she moved there. And I'm gonna tell you who it is after. Her boyfriend used to come see her and used to stop. He used to literally ring my bell so that I could walk him around the corner.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Because all those cats, I mean, I knew him because I grew up around the corner from him.
Right.
But it was dangerous. And so he would ring my bell.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I would go outside talking for a minute and walk with him around the corner.
Yeah, it was like, and then you guys think about it, and then Lafayette Gardens is right across the street.
Right.
So see, you got this one hot ass block, right? Then you got, and because Clinton Hills, people don't understand, it's like this big.
Yeah.
Like, it's surrounded by Fort Greene and Bed-Stuy.
Right.
Right. So you have.
It's bigger now than when we grew up. When we grew up,
redistricting.
Right. When we grew up, really, Classen was Bed-Stuy.
Classen is, in my opinion, Classen is the start of Bed-Stuy.
It's the start of Bed-Stuy, right.
Right, so it's like Classen to Clinton.
Right, Clinton was the start of Fort Greene.
And then maybe
Fulton to Willoughby, maybe. Not even Willoughby.
I wasn't even going to give you Fulton. I was going to say Green. But it depends.
Fulton, though.
Fulton, I give you Fulton, right.
Because of the train station.
To the train station, right? So Fulton to, what'd you say? Willoughby.
To Willoughby.
Because then you got,
not even Myrtle. I don't count Myrtle as
because Myrtle Avenue was called Murder Avenue.
Murder Avenue, right.
So you didn't want to be over there. And then you had LG, and you had this. So it was not the nicest place in the world to be. But what I always respected about Clinton Hills is that, like, people respected if you were authentic, right? So, like, I didn't really have a lot of trouble because I was always a ball player. So they was always like, nah, he good. Like, even the Wildcats that was, whether they joined the Bloods or they was whatever, like, when we hooped, like, no matter what, it was all love because I was a ball player. I never pretended to be in the street. I never whatever. So they never really, for the most part, mess with you if you didn't, you know, portray yourself like you were part of this lifestyle.
But that's how we were raised, though. Like, and I've spoken about that at length. Like, good kids, like, if the hood knew you was a good kid, they would leave you alone.
Leave you alone.
Like, it was never a thing where we're going to violate good kids.
Yeah.
Like, you play ball, we know your mother and father.
Yeah, like
you a good kid. They would give you a pass. Not only would they give you a pass, but they'd be like, nah, get off the block.
Yeah,
like, you know what? Get off the block,
right,
leave,
right.
because something about to happen. I want you to go home.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I don't want Miss Hopi to say anything to me about, you know what I'm saying? Right. So there always was that level of
There was a code. There was a code.
Now, I saw a picture one time. It was you, and it was Church. Shout to Church.
Shout to my brother Church.
And like y'all was like balling. Like y'all was on a team together. Tell me what team. Was that 113? 117?
So we were on 113.
113.
Because Church is a year younger than me.
Right.
So we were on the same team. I was in the 8th grade. He was in the 7th grade.
Yeah.
So we played on that team, and then we also played in high energy. We played on a high energy team together.
Right.
Our coach was this guy. I forgot his name, Mr. Negron. But Lee is my dude. Like, when he came to 113, because you gotta think about it. When I came in the 7th grade, like, above me was Jamal Robinson, Brian Brown, who ended up playing for Ohio State. Like, it was like a lot of cat, and so on this team
At 113.
So on this team, even before Church got there, and it's me, Jerome Holtman, aka the Circus, aka Fridge, right, street ball legend, Lee, Ivan, Ronnie, my boy Jamar, who to this day, I've said this to everybody, like he kind of chose the street life. To this day, I'd say he's the best basketball player I've ever played in my life. He just had a natural feel for the game. It was I think, I want to say at least 75% of the team went on to play college basketball.
Right.
Like it was like that.
What high school you went to?
I went to telecommunications in Bay Ridge.
Oh, you went to Telecom?
So you know who went there?
Who?
Self went there.
DJ Self?
Yeah. Pretty Lou from Hot 97 went there.
Right. Y'all was there together? You and Self?
No,
Self's
they older.
than you.
They older.
Right.
Half man, half amazing.
Went to Telecom.
Haywood.
Yeah.
Yeah. He went to Telecom. He's clearly older than me as well. And I have to confirm this. Somebody told me this. Like he was there for like a hot second and he dipped. Taj Gibson.
Taj went to Telecom.
For like a hot second. I don't think he even played.
Right.
It might have been because he's out of Fort Greene Projects. So it might have been some.
So that train route's crazy. That's the R train.
R train, about a 45-minute commute.
Right. That shit crazy.
Crazy.
And you still in Brooklyn. 45 minutes.
Mainly Brooklyn. You
Right.
didn't even get to the other end.
Right.
Yeah.
Tell me about taking a train growing up in New York City.
Yo, I was telling somebody the other day. I saw a picture of it was like it was the train station. Like it's a Facebook page called like New York City Trains History, whatever. And it was a woman, like this is the amount of space in between where Kai is,
Right.
and then there was a little girl sitting like
Right.
that amount of space. And I said, that little girl ain't even with that woman.
Right.
She riding the train by herself.
Right.
And I know this because that was us.
Right. We rode the train.
We
by
just, you
ourselves.
become like a latchkey kid early, right? Because you kind of have to. And I'm fortunate enough, like I went to the summer camp at Emmanuel, so we learned the trains early. And then after a while, like you just kind of on your own, especially when you start playing in tournaments. Oh, we got a tournament in Winsburg.
And
We got
Mom
a
Deuce
tournament
is
in
not
Queens.
driving you. Pop Deuce is not driving
Nah,
you.
my dad took me to all my baseball games, but when I started playing ball, like I was kind of like
Right.
on my own.
Right.
And it's just, but you rolling with your people, and that's just what it is. Like
Right.
that's just what it is. You just ride the train and you keep your head on the swivel because anything can happen.
I spoke to a sister. I was in the coffee shop. There's a sister that works at Brooklyn Free School. Shout out to Monique. And Monique was telling me how her son is 9 years old and he want to ride a bike to school.
Mm-hmm.
And she was saying, well, I don't really know, da da da. And I was like, well, you know, that was nothing for us. Being 9 and riding your bike to school,
Nothing.
that was nothing. Like I was walking to school every day by the time I was 9 years old by myself, ironing my clothes, getting dressed and going to school.
Right.
We just had a different life back then. Our
Your
parents
only-
had to work.
Your only concern was would your bike be there when you came back.
That's it. But
That
I'm
was it.
riding. I'm definitely gonna ride my bike to school.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
Especially he lived closer than like when I went to elementary school where I live. Like
Right.
his elementary school is close to where he lives. So
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, well, I just want to get up in the morning and walk with him. I'm like, yeah, that's nice, but that ain't reality for me as a
Nope.
9-year-old. I was getting out the house, and we learned the city at that age.
You have to. How was you going? Because for us growing up, there was nothing in Brooklyn. Like what you want to do. Like if you want to do something outside of your neighborhood, you have to leave Brooklyn. Like it's not like outside.
Or even
like,
if, because I mean, East Flatbush was a trek. That was
trip.
something I did all the time.
Or like if you're going to Coney Island, like if you're gonna go to Coney Island,
Right.
whatever. But
Right.
I'm just saying, like outside of that, like even like growing up, I just thought everybody in Manhattan had money. Because coming from where we come from, it don't look like that.
Right.
Right. So you have to
Skyscrapers
you have to
and shit.
learn that shit, right? Or I go to work. If I went to sometimes I would go to work with my mom, just whatever. Like if it,
What your mom's do for a living?
she was she was a secretary of the law office for a long time. She eventually became like a manager or director, something for accounts payable
Oh, okay.
for like another law firm.
Right.
So that's what she did. And my dad, to this day I can't even tell you what he did. It was blue collar,
Right.
and he worked out of a warehouse in Fort Lee, New Jersey.
Oh, okay. So he had to travel to New Jersey every day.
So he would drive to Jersey,
Uh-huh.
then pick up this van and have to go hit these different corporate buildings and drop these things. You know, that's what he did. And I went to work with him sometimes too.
Right.
So I seen it both. I seen like the office thing and I seen like the blue collar. My
Right.
dad getting up 4 o'clock in the morning,
Right.
you know,
To hit the ground.
hit the grind in, but he'll be home. But it worked in our house because he'd be home by like 2:30, 3. So he'd be home when we get home from school. My mom come home at like 6 or whatever. So it was always like if you had a half a day, you had some freedom. Other than that, somebody was always in the house.
Yo, those dynamics always, it excites me to talk about those dynamics because like my pops was a cop, NYPD. But he had TD 30. So he started off he was a transit cop. So he started off at Columbus Circle, and then he was working out in East New York.
Okay.
But then he got into some issues. He had some issues with some white cops. He wound up beating up a sergeant, right, on some racist shit. He put balls on him, and so they put him in equipment and supplies, which was right here on Tillery and Gold Street. So equipment and supplies is where the entire borough go and get their guns, their vests, like evidence. So my father was in charge of E&S, equipment and supplies. But I'm saying this because my father worked AM shifts one week and PM shifts the next week. He was on and off. So one week he would be 6 to 2. The next week he would be like 2 to 10, right? And then my mom, she used to work. She was a paralegal for a law firm, but then she had an eye condition, so she went on disability. So long story short, by the time I was like a junior in high school, there was always a parent
in the house.
Always. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember, well maybe senior, because I remember junior year being able to like cut school and go to the crib. That shit was dead. Senior year, that shit was dead. I had to go to Amin's crib because I couldn't go to my crib.
I got caught a couple of times with some folks in the crib. Just, you're a kid, like, risk, there's no like real risk as a child. Like you're just like, yo, just come to the crib, like, oh, we home half a day, we home or whatever.
Bro, trouble didn't matter. I'm gonna get in trouble anyway. Like I'm gonna be in trouble. Like let me just get this off.
Girls hiding in the closet, everything.
The whole shit. I didn't went through the whole shit.
The whole thing, yo.
So why Howard? Why not Morgan? Because you played yourself.
What?
I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
Did you hear yourself?
I thought I was thinking that. I probably was thinking that.
You just played yourself by saying that out loud.
Why Howard though? Tell me about Howard.
So first I'm gonna say this. So like I said, I was just a ball player. So I ended up playing a year of Division III basketball at College of Staten Island.
Oh, so before you went to Howard, you played at College of Staten Island.
I hated it there. It was like my first time really realizing I was black, and I needed things for me and my culture, right? Because up to that, I was always surrounded by black people and black culture and African culture and any whatever, like whether it be Latinos, Caribbeans, but I was always around it. So when I got there, and I was just like, this is like, I didn't even know what a PWI was, but I knew what a PWI was. And I just wasn't comfortable with it. I didn't like it. I have visited Howard twice before, and you'll hear me mention Emmanuel a lot because they played a huge part of my upbringing. I've been in Emmanuel since preschool.
Emmanuel's an institution.
Right, it's an institution. Yeah. So they used to have black college tours every summer. So I went twice. We visited all the schools. We visited almost all of them, like up and down the East Coast. And Howard, in total honesty, it was for all the wrong reasons. I just saw the girls. Like I was like, they go here? This is where I'm going, right? And but like I said, I was a baller, and I just kind of went that route. And then I was kind of like, you know what? I want to go play for Howard, and I need to be around black people. So I just knew I wanted to go to Howard. My best friend Jason was at Howard. A couple of my other friends who I grew up with and went to school with, they were at Howard. So I just felt comfortable. My man Charles Coleman was there. My man Mark Williams, he's a musician, he was there. So I was like, yo, I'm just going to go. So I just transferred out. And to this day, I tell people all the time, it is the best decision I've ever made in my life. Absolutely. Hands down. Like, and I'll say that, and anybody goes to any black person, goes to HBCU,
right, they're gonna say the
period. Same. Yeah. But for me, it was my first time in life where I was really challenged, right? And I had to really deal with not being the best at something, and being said no. So the first time I didn't make a basketball team was Howard. Now, it wasn't because of my talent or the talent around me. If you people look at HBCUs now and like the athletic departments and how things have gotten a lot better. Like it was a shit show when I was there. Like the tryout, the head coach wasn't even there. All they said was like 5, you 5, you 5. So it'd be like a team with like 4 centers and 2 shooting guards.
Right.
It was just like
nothing to it.
They didn't care. So after that, I was kind of like, if I keep going through this, it's gonna make me not love playing. So, you know, I did intramurals. Anybody goes to HBCU, intramurals is crazy.
Yeah, intramurals is hotter than the game.
Hotter than the regular games.
Right.
So, so I did that, and then, but I just grew so much. It was the first time I realized that black people are not a monolith, right? Because growing up in New York, even though you have all these different cultures, you're not really paying attention to the different cultures because these are your friends. Like if I go to my man's house in Flatbush, I'm not thinking these are Jamaicans or Panamanians or Guyanese or whatever. These are my friends. Like these black people, y'all just whatever. Even though there's a glaring difference in the culture, we're New Yorkers first and foremost. My family in the South, like that's just my family. I'm not thinking Southerners, right?
Where you from in the South? Where's your family from?
So my dad's family is from Georgetown, South Carolina. And my mom's is from Kentucky, Louisville and Lexington.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so I got to see like black people. I remember I was walking in the dorm and this kid, I walked past the dorm, I'm like, is this nigga listening to Hootie and the Blowfish? Like what is going on right now? And I really just got exposed to so much. And I got pushed to be better in the classroom, socially, how I networked, like everything, how it made me better. So
now, where was hip hop for you during this time? I'm talking high school into College of Staten Island into Howard. Like, tell me about the place in which, because you're talking mid to late '90s, so you're a child of like that late Biggie, Tupac, they die while you in high school. So you're a child of that. You know what I'm saying? So tell me about where hip hop was placed in you during that time.
Hip hop was everything. Like I feel like I was every other kid, and like I had my Walkman and my headphones on, and I'm listening to mixtapes on the low mixtapes from the red or the purple mixtapes. Yeah. And I'm listening to Clue and I'm listening to SNS.
Yeah, that was the era of that. Clue, Doo-Wop, SNS.
Doo-Wop, SNS, JC Jace and the Cream Team.
JC Jace, right.
All of that, like Lazy K. Like I'm just locked. Hip hop is like everything. I mean, I'm rhyming. I'm writing rhymes. Like in high school, we having battles in the hallway.
Right.
And then when I get to Howard, like I'm in rap competitions.
So your first foray into the culture was as an MC.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, but even before being a DJ, I was writing rhymes at like 11, 12 years old.
Right.
And just like I feel like what people don't understand like now, because hip hop is like heavily monetized and it's like whatever. I don't think people really understand what it means to be in the culture. Like growing up, you did something, whatever the elements were, you did it. Like you danced
all the time.
You danced, or if you was art, you know, I was never really good with art, but like it was in everything you did. So like writing rhymes wasn't like, oh, I want to be a rapper. It's just like, this is what we do. Right. So I was rhyming since like 11, 12 years old.
Right. The culture was so visceral that we just wanted to be a part of it.
We just wanted to be a part of it.
And being a part of it meant whatever it meant.
Whatever.
Dancing, rhyming, whatever it meant. Places, events. Just wanting to be part of the culture.
Me and my man Charles, he lived in my building. We used to go to parties. Before we would go to parties, we'd be in the crib, like getting routines down. Yeah. Just when we got to the party to bust out a routine.
To bust a routine.
Like it was everything, and you know, I was, you know, anything that dropped, because back then it was like Tuesday. Right. That's when shit dropped, right? Tuesday. Right. So running to B Street, to cop whatever's new, and you know, we were kind of in that transition period. So I'm copping the CD and the cassette. Right. Right. And then maybe even the vinyl too. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So any however I want to listen to this, I'm straight. So it was a big part of my life.
March 9th, 1997, Big passes.
I remember everything.
Big's funeral and then procession hits Clinton Hill.
I unfortunately I did not make their procession.
That's what I asked you, so you wasn't there.
You gotta remember, I'm in school. Like I'm an athlete. I'm in school. Right. Like I can't, and I'm in school in Bay Ridge. Right. So I can't.
So you can't even like
practice or I just unfortunately I missed that. But I can tell you, I remember the day. I remember that night. So I played the drums also. So I was playing the drums in church. I woke up Sunday morning, March 9th, that Sunday morning, and I did something I never did on a Sunday. Just turned on the radio. I never do that on Sundays. I got up to her and it was dead silent. Dead silent. And I was like, yo, what happened. At first I thought something was wrong with my radio. I was like, yo, what? Like hitting it, and I'm like, and I just hear, I want to say it was Angie, and I just hear tears, and they're kind of, I guess I caught them when they were kind of coming back, and just saying, you know, the tourists, right? And I just sat, I stared at the radio like it wasn't even a radio anymore. It was like this thing. It was like this thing that was kind of bringing a cloud into my life. Because I was the biggest, and still to this day, the biggest Biggie fan like ever. Right. And this is my neighbor.
Right.
Right? We don't talk about Clinton Hills. Let's talk about what existed in Clinton Hills.
Right.
Right? This is my neighbor. He's 3 blocks away from me.
Right.
I'm like, what? And I had to go into church to play the drums, and of course,
Oh, you had to go to church to play the drums
so
that
day. So it's like even church was heavy. Like church was heavy.
Right.
Like
right.
it was. Oh man! It to this day, every time I hear his voice, and I didn't know him personally in the sense like when you were kicking and whatever. It's just a guy that you would see around, and he made it.
Right.
Like every time I hear his voice, I miss him. Like as if something in me, I miss him even more.
Right.
Like he should be here.
Right.
So that was just a dark like time in hip hop in general.
So you're the same age as my sisters, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
They at the time they were in Boys and Girls High School.
Okay.
They were seniors at Boys and Girls High School.
Yeah, I was 16, so I was probably a junior.
Right,
yeah.
right. They're a year older, around that. Mm-hmm. So my father didn't play that shit. My father knew Big, right? Mm-hmm. My father used to always give Big the business, right? Even when Big blew up, Big would walk down the block and be like, I don't care who you are. You got to say hello. You got to say good morning when you pass the block. But for some reason, my father was adamant on that day that my sisters attend school and that they don't stay on the block for the procession. So Keth and Kayam on their way, they walk into the C train, and Michael Daly from the Daily News stops them. And he's like, yeah, where you guys going? Oh, I'm going to school. You're not going to hang around for the Biggie thing? No, we got to go to school. Oh, that's great. Can I follow you to school? He takes the train with them to Boys and Girls High, interviews them, then comes to the house. So now, mind you, I'm outside. I come to the house, and Michael Daly's in my living room with my sisters interviewing him. Wow. Long story short, he put out an article that next day, which basically was like, the Rice twins cared more about their education than Biggie. Like, what happened to Biggie don't matter, right? Because they're about their education, and they already had their acceptance to Clark. They headed to Clark Atlanta, and it was such a slap in the face for the culture. But I felt offended because I'm like, this is my community. Like, of course they cared, but my father made
everybody cared.
You know what I'm saying? But the reason why I'm bringing that up is because you guys are from that era. At that time, I was already 22 years old, 21, 22 years old. But you guys are from that era where this was like a coming of age moment for y'all.
Yes.
My sisters were livid at the article.
No, as they should have been. Like,
right? They thought it was a good idea until it came out that it's like, no, this wasn't a good idea. Because it pinned them as traitors to the community.
Traitors to the community. Like, Biggie didn't matter to
them. Right, like, oh, Biggie ain't matter to them type shit.
He was, I wouldn't say he was everything, but he was just such a big deal because it's literally somebody, because again in Clinton Hills, and those you don't know, like Clinton Hills was flooded with who's who of anybody in hip hop industry. Absolutely. But a lot of these people moved
not just hip hop industry. I remember going to the pizza shop on Lafayette near Mike's, and Wesley Snipes is there.
Wesley's right. You know what I'm saying? Actors, everybody.
Like actors,
Wesley Snipes, Chris Rock, Rosie Perez, Bradford Marcellus.
Total.
Like everybody lived in this neighborhood. So. Abel Walker, like all these people lived in this neighborhood, and if you're part of the culture, like you were in this neighborhood. But a lot of them moved to that neighborhood because it was the neighborhood for artists to live in at that time. Right. Like this guy is from that neighborhood. Right. He's one of ours. He's a homegrown guy. Right. And we lost him to foolishness. Like it really, like the hood was like fucked up for a minute.
For a minute. Now tell me, when was the first time you started DJing?
So
and how'd that come about?
So instant. So shout out to my man Dane Chase. Dane Chase is one of my really good friends. His pops, my boy Chris. So me and Chris and Dane. Chris used to live in Clinton Mews, the condos that's like in between 333 and 339. So
that's what that was called, Clinton Mews. I didn't know.
Clinton Mews, yeah.
Okay.
So me and Chris is hanging out one day, and Dane's like, yo, randomly, unsolicited, nothing. He knew I hooped, because he used to coach out of Brooklyn Friends. He wanted to give me the Brooklyn Friends. I wish I would have. But he was like, yo, just come to the crib, I want to show you something. Randomly. It was a video of DJ Jazzy Jeff. And like I said, I'm already musically inclined. I play the tuba, baritone, and the drums. And music is just in my house, right? But DJing wasn't a thing that I was really like exposed to. And I saw Jazzy Jeff, and I was like, I don't know what it is I just saw, but I want to do that. Right. So I was like, all right, how do I do this? So of course I went home like, yo, Mom. My dad had mad vinyl, right? No hip hop, but just mad vinyl house. So I'm like, yo, Ma, I wanted the turntables, and then my mother was like, hell no. You're not gonna have that rap music blasting in my house.
How old was you at this time?
15? It was 96.
Okay.
15. And she's like, nah, whatever. And I'm like, all right. So my man Rich, shout out to my man Brooklyn Rich, he lived in the building, and Fred passed away years ago, died complications of diabetes. But I found out, they were like the OGs, but I found out they were DJs. Because I saw Fred coming out the building one time with like the crates. I'm like, yo, you DJ? He was like, yeah. He was like, I'm like, yo, I'm trying to do this thing, like, let me, come to the crib. He's like, yeah, I got you. Right. So they would just let me come to the crib. I wouldn't call in advance, see them home night. Right. Every day at the door.
Just knocking at the door.
Yo, Fred home, and they would just let me in.
Right.
And I'll play my first mixtape. I made it there. I'm pissed at myself because I recorded over it, because I never thought that I would. I didn't want to do it because I thought I would have a career doing this. I just wanted to do it because I knew what I saw I loved, and I just wanted, like, again, hip hop, writing rhymes. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. I want in.
So I didn't. So for a long time, I was just going to people's houses. My man Lamar, who lived on Grand as well, he DJ. He used to do all the block parties on Grand Avenue, and at the time I was dating his cousin. So I would just pull up. Yo, be in his house, like messing around, like any way I can get a piece of it, I could. So I did that for years. And then one year, one of my best friends, Henry, we hadn't like been around each other because we had started going to different schools. He was at, and we're in college now. He went to Hampton. And I went to his house one day, and he had turntables. I said, yo, you DJ? I didn't even know. This is one of my, but like, I was like, you DJ? He was like, yeah. He was like, you DJ? I was like, yeah. Like, mind you, I'm only doing this sparingly, but I'm like, yeah. I was like, yo, can I just get on? He's like, yeah. So I'm just like fucking around. He's like, yo, you nice. I'm like, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then he goes, and I shit you not, if this is because it's the summertime. So if this is like a Tuesday, he's like, yo, you want to DJ my birthday party?
Oh shit.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
So his parents went away. Went away, so he threw like a house party at his dope backyard, threw a house party at the house. That was my first like gig. I just DJ'd house party. And I mean, we were young enough where I don't know if I was really good. Like, we were young enough to not give a fuck if I'm good or not, as long as I play the records that they like or whatever.
You play the right records, you good.
But I trusted Henry because he did it. Like he does it. He was like, no, you're really good. So that's how I started. So we would do. He had a brownstone, and then my other boy Jay took me on Grand. He lived in the brownstone with his parents. So when their parents would go away on vacation, we would just throw house parties. Right. So that's how I cut my teeth, DJing, and it would be on vinyl. And so I started buying more of my own vinyl, but a lot of the vinyl that we were using was, for the most part, my boy Henry's. So we became like a tandem. And that's how we got started, just doing house parties.
Now, you mentioned your father having a vinyl collection, and without even knowing, I know that they were jewels, because there's no such thing as a vinyl collection from the 80s that wasn't jewels.
Crazy.
Did you ever tap into that early? Like,
I would take some of his stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't tap into it. When you young, it's just like, you love the music, but I wasn't really like knowledgeable, like, the way I was
didn't have the IQ that you have now.
The IQ that I had with hip hop, I didn't necessarily have with his stuff.
Right.
I just liked it because he played it, right?
Right.
So like when I look at old home videos and like I'm hearing the music playing, I'm like, oh shit, like that's my joint.
Right.
And I'm not thinking that at 5, 6 years old he was playing it.
Right.
But I know like this is my joint.
Because it was playing when you was 5, 6.
Like my dad I could see the vinyl. He had Careless Whisper by Wham.
Right.
I remember him playing that in the house.
Right.
And I'm like, yo, I was like, this shit is amazing. I don't know what this is. This is amazing. And I'm looking, and you know how it was like for us, the art of the vinyl was just important. The liners.
The vinyl was such an institution.
Yeah.
Because the liners, the acknowledgments.
The
whole
artwork.
Shit. Yeah, the whole shit.
So I'm looking, like I'm listening to the music. It's almost like the artwork is like singing to me. And I'm just kind of stuck. And then so when I get older, like there's songs that I love, and I'm not even realizing that as a young person, I was already listening to that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's the first time you got paid for DJ, and how much?
So it was going to be 200, it ended up being 100. And it's a funny story.
That sound like me. Was I the promoter? Did I do that?
No. So my first paid DJ gig was my boy Henry. Like I said, we became partners.
Right.
Shout out to my man Gideon and his mom. So he knew I was a DJ. He would come to the crib, you know, when we have house parties and shit. His family was having a family reunion out on Long Island, and they wanted a DJ. So he told his mom, like, yo, book my boy, like, it's whatever.
Right.
So we've been doing this for like a couple years now. So we kind of alright with it.
Right.
But we ain't really making no money. We broke. So we had the turntables. We had a Gemini. We had two techniques. Gemini mixer.
Right. Gemini mixer.
We had bought I bought a brand new pair of PV, like 12-inch mixers, right? But we ain't had no real amp. The amp we used was his dad's old amp. It was like, it had like a wicker cover. Like it was old. But we had been using it up to that point for the house parties and whatnot. Right. So it's like, whatever, we get out there.
Shit blows.
Yo, 4 songs in. That shit blows.
So nobody you gotta be from a certain era to understand when the amp blows.
Yo.
You had to be from a certain era.
Yo, and this thing is in like a big open space. Mm-hmm. So like normally when we were doing it at the house, it's in the backyard of the house. We don't need to crank it because the acoustics work.
Right.
No, we in this big, almost like a state park. Mm-hmm. So we shot 4 songs in. Blown. And so everybody looking at us and like we fucking like embarrassed and scared and whatever.
And don't know what to do.
And his mom was just mad. So she was like, all right, I'm gonna give you 100 out of this too. You go to Radio Shack. You go to Radio Shack and go get you. So we went to Radio Shack and no, we bought a whole new amp.
Oh, y'all bought a whole new amp.
A whole new amp for $100 from Radio Shack.
You change the fuses. You can change the fuse. It depends on the amp.
That amp was old.
It was done right.
And Radio Shack, for those if you're young enough, you don't know. Like Radio Shack wasn't giving you top tier shit, so you can get a $100 amp at Radio Shack.
Without question.
Right. So we got that, and the $100, and we really ain't make $100 when you really think about it, because even going into it, we bought records. More records for that. Mm-hmm. So like back then, like it wasn't like how it is now. You subscribe to these digital record pools and you can music is basically free at this point, right? No, when you need records, you gotta go buy them shit.
Buy records.
And for like women, it is with how women are with shoes. Like for DJs, that's how it's with records.
Right.
Like I could go in and like, I just need to get these 2 records.
And then
I'm walking out with $200 worth of records.
Right.
That's just what it is. Because you realize singles, oh, this is new, I didn't know this was out. Oh, I thought I had this record, or I need another copy of this record, and you just end up spending like $200-300.
Let me tell you something, man. Like I used to work. My first job was City Marshal Charles Sanchez. I used to be the dude. So like in projects like Red Hook East, Red Hook West, Brookline, few projects. Shit. My job was to go into the projects and to tape the eviction notices on the people's doors, and then to deliver. So one copy would go on their doors, the other copy would go to the office. That was my job in high school, right? Shout out to City Marshal Charles Sanchez. So I had a very risky job.
Yes,
right?
you did.
But when I got paid, I used to work at 111 Court Street. So my office was right across the street from where the movie theater is now. That used to be an adult movie theater back in the day.
Oh shit, for
right?
real?
Then it was closed for a long time. Then it became the movie theater it was. So I would get my money at 111 Court Street and literally walk downtown to Beach Street and cop records. Immediately. Like I would get my money, I would go to the check cashing place, get my bread, go to Beach Street, cop. So before I got home, I'd spent half my fucking check. Half my check was going to records.
I have friends that would be like, they want to throw parties and book us, and they'd be like, yo, we only got like $300. We spent $300 yesterday by accident. Just because we wanted to get these new 45 dancehall records and whatever. And it's just like, I don't think
So-
it's way different. Like that's why, like, I mean, we are where we are when it comes to technology, and I'm great. My back is grateful for it. I don't have to carry
That's
crazy
the other
records
thing.
and whatever.
That's the other thing.
But there's no real sweat equity put in to really. If you really love this and you want to do this, like anybody can, for $500, you can have everything.
But that's
you
the
want.
problem, though.
You can have everything you want.
The problem is when we were doing it, you had to love this shit to do it.
Because it was expensive,
Right.
and it was laborious.
And it wasn't in front of you. You had to seek it out.
You had to go seek it out.
You had to seek it out. So a lot of kids now, they don't even have that fortitude to seek a shit out. But because everything, you could put GarageBand on your thing, you could have
do
all these
whatever.
apps, and you could front like a DJ.
Nah, but
You
yo,
could go to a
had
party and Shazam on DJ.
Shazam
That's just
a whole
right, and a whole
You
shit.
can record a little, if a DJ don't got a drop, you can record his whole set. I mean, they was doing that shit in the '70s, but you can record somebody's whole set and then go out. I've heard of DJs playing other DJ sets,
Wow.
like at parties,
Wow.
like recently, not like recently.
That's crazy.
It's super crazy. So there's no real respect for the craft because the accessibility is so easy. Before, like you said, there's no reels, there's no social media. Like how I discovered DJ, he said, "Yo, come to the crib," and showed me a VHS cassette tape of Jazzy Jeff.
Right.
Now I had seen DJs before, but the way he showed and the thing that Jeff was doing, whatever, kind of changed my life to like this is what I want to do. So like I said, I was 15. So a year before that, my aunt and uncle got married. My aunt, my mother's sister, she got married to my uncle Barry, who's from LG Projects. With my family, my mother's family is from Summer Projects. So I learned this later. Barry helped to teach and influence Mr. C how to DJ, because Mr. C's out of Lafayette Gardens. At their wedding is DJ Lance.
Shout out to Lance, rest in peace.
Rest in peace. DJ Lance was their wedding DJ.
Right.
So again, even if I'm not conscious of it, I'm around
The legends.
the people who are really doing this
Right.
and really invested in this.
Right.
So by the time I came around to do it, like what other option did I have other than really invest into this, invest my time, my energy, and my money?
How old were you when you got paid that $100? It's supposed to be $200, but you had to go to Radio Shack. How old were you then?
19, 20 maybe?
Okay, so this is right at like the turn of the century.
We weren't yet. There was no
You
survival.
wasn't really making enough money to be a DJ, so where were you working?
I was in college still.
You was in college. When you left college, what was you doing for a living?
When I graduated?
Yes.
Oh, so my background is in television and film. So I got my degree is in broadcast journalism from Howard. When I came out, I worked at the Food Network for some time. I worked at BET, as all black people.
Especially you went to Howard.
And you went to Howard, you
definitely
definitely going to BET, right? So I worked at BET for a bit. Did some stuff for Discovery Channel, VH1.
What were you doing for them?
I was early on, so a lot of production assistant stuff, and eventually associate producer. And so, in 2005, I started my own production company, right? And so here was my goal. This is my entrepreneurial spirit kicking in. We were already doing, like I said, we were doing house parties. I was DJing. I was actually now doing like after work parties in the city and stuff like that.
So now you get a little money from this.
A little bit of money.
Supplement.
I had my
Supplementing
and I had my production. I had my promotion team as well, upper echelon.
Right.
Right. So this was my plan. I said, yo.
I remember Upper Echelon.
Right. So we're gonna start. We're gonna do these parties to fund our productions.
Right.
Because I didn't want anybody to own our projects.
Right.
So I was like, we're gonna do that. So I started production company in 2005. I was at BET. I had this idea that I had in college for a show. This was before YouTube. Like YouTube wasn't even a thing yet. I had this idea. And while I was at BET, YouTube became a thing. The show was called Flip the Script. And it was all viewer-generated content, which is basically social media now.
Right.
Right? Viewer-generated content. And we wanted just to highlight it. So it was me, my homegirl Dizzy, we were the hosts. And we were just like a video show. So what it came from was when I was in high school, we would have school projects. And when the projects were over, we had maybe a day or two left where we still had the equipment before we had to return it. So we would do parody music videos. So we did a parody music video of I Need a Girl, Diddy and them. We did a parody of Stunt 101. We did a parody of Old Boy, whatever. So I was like, yo, this should be ill. Like, let's just do music video parodies and whatever. So while I was at BET, they had an open pitch session for anybody who was a producer, anybody that worked at BET. Just pitch a show, and if you like it, we'll pick it up.
Right.
Our show was the only show that got picked up.
Right. I remember Flip the Script.
One of the submissions, so what we did while in pre-production and stuff, we were posting on the internet, Craigslist, other vehicles, whatever, sending your stuff. So we had people sending all type of stuff. One of the submissions was Peter Rosenberg and his brother. They did a parody of Throw Some D's on It, called Throw Some Cheese on It. And the music video was shot in a supermarket.
Get the fuck out of here.
These motherfuckers had chains with like cheese as medallions. Like but they did, it wasn't just a parody of the video, they did a parody of the song.
Right.
So this was like, we were doing this, again, YouTube was just now becoming like,
A thing.
just sort of now being more than just cat videos, right?
Right.
And
It's the Soulja Boy album.
right.
Right.
And so it was like hot, but I don't want to necessarily, be in the business of publicly slandering, but BET at that time kind of just went BET on us. And so at the time, what happened was there was a website called hotghettomess.com. This predates WorldStar, all that shit.
Right.
Hotghettomess.com. BET bought it. They had a show that D.L. Hughley was hosting called We Gotta Do Better, which was pretty much the content of hotghettomess.com.
Right.
Then they turned the show and they changed the name to hotghettomess.com. But they wanted us to pretty much produce the same show.
Right.
And I was like, I didn't get into this business for this shit.
Right.
Like, I came into this to produce quality content.
Right.
Stuff that we could be proud of.
Right.
I'm not doing that shit.
Right.
And at the same time, all of my friends, like, all my, clearly I became friends with everybody at BET. My people was producing Rap City. So I'm inside, and every day, my man Matt Smith, my man
Shout to Matt, that's my guy.
Malik Bowie.
Malik is my guy, right? Now you talking, that's Morgan.
And it's I know. And it was a couple other people whose names escape me right now. Every day I'm in the office like, yo, y'all gotta make me a guest DJ. Y'all gotta make me a guest DJ. Like every day. Like I'm working on my shit and I'm showing up to them like, yo, I gotta be every day. So finally, I don't know if they believed in me or they was like, this nigga is not gonna stop coming. Right?
Guest DJ.
So they made me a guest DJ. On Rap City.
Rap City.
And it wasn't with, I wish it was with Tigger. This was like after they were going through the transition. I think Tigger was gone. And they used to have artists as guest hosts.
Right.
So the guest host for like that week was Joel Santana. And I was ignorant enough to believe that because I was a guest DJ on Rap City, nigga, I was on, I'm out of here, I'm about to blow up. I really believed that. And I walked up. and because I was really kind of tired of TV, because at that time also this is the introduction of reality TV starting to blow up. So it's just a lot of like really just not creative shit happening.
Right.
I was all for TV.
Right.
And I was like, yo, I'm on Rap City as a featured DJ. I'm out of here. So I left TV Cold Turkey. I left TV Cold Turkey and became a DJ full time. And I don't regret it because I learned a lot, but it was a school of hard knocks.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't advise anybody else to do it that way.
Right. So you totally left your 9 to 5 because of that appearance on Rap City.
Because I believe that the phone will be ringing off at this point. That's not how that works, people.
Now, what I want to get in, because I don't think people understand it really. Mm-hmm. Laymen don't understand it. People that have been back at the house, so like those who produce and program events, those who work in the culture, anchored in the culture, kind of get it. But I want to kind of get into the economics of the DJ, right? Because a promoter says, okay, I want to throw a party, I need a DJ, I'm gonna call CEO, what is he gonna cost? I don't know. I ask you, you give me a rate.
Mm-hmm.
The first question is kind of how do you, not now, because now it's different, and I'm gonna get into your journey now, but back then, when you left Rap City, when you left BET because of your appearance at Rap City and started moving as a full-time DJ, how were you basing your rates? And so that's question one, how were you basing your rates? But then number two, what was your lifestyle like based on the parties that you were getting?
So early on, I mean, I had no idea, right? I think at most I was probably asking for 3 and probably walking away with like 2, maybe 150, right? But when you
even at that time,
right? But when you trying to get on and nobody knows you, you're gonna take anything. Now, not that it's not okay, but you understand this is always going to be the case. If you're trying to get on, you don't have wiggle room to negotiate.
Right.
And at this time, outside of maybe Spinner, and I say Spinner because he was, what was that promotional team that he was always running with? Keystar, right? They was
them and Keita.
Keita, right? So that was a tandem, right? DJs weren't throwing parties; it was only promoters, right? So what am I gonna do? Like I have to take whatever you give me, right? Oh, it's 150. All right, cool. Like 150. And so, but I'm doing this so I can get a name. I don't really have a brand per se at that moment. So it's just like, yo, I'm just trying to get. This shit I'm doing for free. Like I don't care. Like I love it so much, and I believe in myself so much that I'm going to make this work.
Right. But I'm talking about logistically, because like, look, on Friday night I hire you. I pay you $200 to DJ. You're DJing my party till 4 in the morning. You're the DJ. You're not leaving when Kaisha leaves. You're leaving after the last person leaves.
Right,
so you get home at 6 in the morning.
Right.
Now you got another party Saturday or maybe not. What I'm saying is that lifestyle, how were you?
You young. That shit.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
Young. You
Right.
can go forever. You just moving. Like you don't care. Like man, it was nothing. I wasn't making no real money. It was, I had a lot of, at the time I was still on vinyl. Like I didn't switch to Serato until 2006. Like up until that point I was still on vinyl. So I had a lot of friends because niggas wanted to get in.
Right.
So it was like, yo, we'll pull up. I carry your
Right.
shit, you know what I mean? So I was very really by myself.
Right.
Right. But it was just, what are you gonna do? Like you're just trying to get on. And then once you get in, I still don't know because I don't have, and this is the one thing I regret. I was never really good at networking and building those relationships with other DJs, where I can kind of learn from them and follow them and kind of get on through them, and I can kind of learn the business. My introduction, because we were throwing parties already, we teamed up with other promoters. So we're not learning from people who are going to do right by the DJ. We're just learning to kind of get in.
Right.
And so I didn't know like I should be asking for this money. So then when I started dealing with promoters, I did not know.
You didn't know.
It wasn't until, shout out to my man Omar Hamilton, another Bison. He was the one, Big O. He was like, he started booking me. Him, I'm saying the people who always did right by me. Him, MIH, Keenan and Shane,
Right.
and John Evan, and Urban Pro, my boy Young Jay, and there was another group who they were friends of mine, Tom Kitten. So we were doing like Boulevard and all these different spots. They kind of did right by me. But in general, like the promoted landscape was fucking like they didn't care, and I didn't have a name.
Right, it was a past least resistance.
Right, I didn't have a name, so it was tough. Like I wasn't really getting money like that for a while.
At what point? I'm trying to, even when I'm asking you this question, I'm trying to think about if I remember your point. Like I remember the Mike McConnell days. Shout to Mike.
So that everybody who knows DJ CEO today,
Right.
that us doing the influence series is what
Right.
changed
Right.
everything for me.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that changed everything. At this point, I'm still not really making bread like that.
Right.
I'm still not. I'm hand to mouth.
What year was that? When was that?
Like 09.
08, 09.
09.
Right, so
yeah.
this is like 3-4 years in.
Yeah.
I'm still not, because again, I haven't really networked to where like I can build relationships and everybody knows me. I'm only operating in my space. Now, when I look back on it, the thing I do understand is that I was kind of being shaped to do something that didn't exist, right? Because at this point, I have established the brand. I am referred to, I am known everywhere as the best dressed DJ, period. Like, they know me as this dude.
I remember seeing that on Flash.
Yeah, I'm gonna show up. At the time, I wouldn't call it style, but it was a fashion choice. It wasn't really stylish, but that was a fashion choice. I'm showing up in a 3-piece suit. I'm like at nightclubs.
Right.
Like, the bouncers are like, you're not the DJ. I'm like, yeah, like, you talk, like, I'm like, you know, at that point. But then around like 08, 09, I started to develop my own, an actual style, right? And so I meet Mike. I didn't know him. At his wife at the time, I knew her through some friends. And what I did was, I was really early on branding because I knew I was a really good DJ. What I also knew was that there was a lot of really good DJs. And I'm not gonna stand out just being a really good DJ. I need to figure something out. So branding was huge. So I had this little recorder, this little digital recorder, like a video recorder. And so I would go around to people that I felt were influencers at the time. And I was like, yo, just say something. Like, I just need you to say this into the thing for me. Like, say who DJ CEO is, whatever. Because I was gonna do like a whole Who is DJ CEO campaign. So my homegirl, Demetria Lucas, right? She was like, yo, you need to ask Mike to do that. I'm like, who the fuck is Mike? She don't know Mike Mancini? I'm like, nah, I don't know him. So she introduced me to him. I didn't know him from anywhere. I asked him to do it. He was like, fine, I'll do it. He did it. His wife at the time, she said, yo, you should work with that dude. She just saw something and whatever. So at the time, Mike was the brand ambassador for Belvedere.
Right.
And I'm like, yo, Mike, I'm thinking like, yo, if I can align myself with Belvedere, this established brand, like I could really like make some moves. So I'm like, yo, Mike, like I want to work with you. Like, how did that? He was like, yo, I need some activations. I was like, I didn't know shit. Like, what's the activation? He's like, you know, he's telling me this is an event, you know, get the product in there and highlight it, whatever. I'm like, all right, cool. At the time, I was a resident DJ at the spot called Red Barn Grill, which my sister got me in there because she was working there. It was a rooftop in the city. We tried to do it there. They was a real funny style. So I was like, yo, Mike, if I can find a space we can do this, he was like, yeah, we can do it. I was like, all right, cool. I hung up the phone with him. I went on bizbash.net.
Right.
I found a spot, had just opened, 48 Lounge. I emailed them. I was like, yo, we're trying to do this spot. You know, we're trying to do this event. The guy got Belvedere. Yo, like 20 minutes later, they replied. They was like, yo, when do you want to do it? I called Mike. I was like, I got a spot. He was like, what? Like, I just got off the phone. He was like, you got it? I was like, yeah, I got his 48 Lounge. We went up, we saw the spot, and boom. Like a week later, we started the Influence Series. And the Influence Series went down in history as a legendary Monday night event in New York City. And it changed my life forever. It made me an international DJ because of that event.
And so that's the point.
Yeah.
Right, that's the point.
That changed everything for me. Everything. It was one of the best. It changed everything for me from a branding standpoint because here I am trying to represent this thing aesthetically, but I'm in spots that don't coincide with what I'm looking like with the aesthetic, right? It's urban. See, not even urban professional. Right? This is like whatever, and I'm here. You know what I mean? Like, imagine showing up to the tunnel and like, you know what I mean?
What you doing?
You look crazy, right? So we're doing this thing now, and I'm now being introduced to people.
But it's another thing, though. The other thing is that, like you said, you were looking for a thing that didn't exist at the time.
Yeah, it didn't exist.
It didn't exist because our community wasn't old enough and mature enough to understand those lanes.
Yeah, I didn't even know they existed. Like, I didn't know anything about Submerso or the Meatpacking District. Like, I wasn't, because as black people who were creating things, we weren't in those spaces. Maybe as like a DJ, but like us, we weren't in those spaces.
Not as controllers and influencers and programmers, not as programmers.
Just as an audience.
We were in as audience.
As audience, right? But not as programmers, not as curators. So I'm in a space now where I'm curating things. We can curate these things, right? And so now I'm being introduced to different types of people within the industry, and I'm like, yo, who's the? And he's telling me like, oh, that's so and so, and I'm like, what the fuck? And now on top of that, now I'm in a space where I can play different music, right? Because before I'm in spots where basically it's the same shit. It's whatever's hot. Your old school set is like Poison, a couple of Michael Jackson records. Maybe Never Too Much by Luther, and like that's it. And Before I Let Go, like that's your old school set. Nobody's really getting busy like that, except for maybe like a Goldfinger. Right. Nobody's really getting busy like that. Right. So like, you know, Monday night we doing Influence series from like 6 to 11. Then we going over to Hotel Rivington. Moma got the good spot with him and Mark and Maine and all of them.
Shout to Maine.
Right. And then we going over, and then on Tuesday nights I'm doing a party called Off the Wall. Right, in the city with my man Dubs, and then we leave there, and then Wednesday night we Baby I'm a Star, and we're pretty much throwing the same party, but it's, you know, slightly different vibes because we're different DJs, so we approach things differently. But like that whole from 2009 to like 2011 changed my life.
But this was the birth of the mature, and I'm trying to I'm trying to say it in a way that would make sense, but. Like you said, we weren't ready for it until we were ready for it.
Right.
By 2008, 2009, so I'm talking about me personally, I'm 34 years old at that point. And so it's a tipping point for me as well.
I'm not even 30 yet.
It's like, I know, but you were, it was for us.
Yeah,
really,
right.
You know what I'm saying? It was our generation. That was really, because for us it was like, we want some cool out shit. We had went through the Club New Yorks and the Flamingos. We had went through, or even Mars 21. Like we had did all of that in that early aughts. And it was like, nah, it's time to really kind of just chill and have like a old school New York vibe. And that's what, all of those things that you're talking about, that's what it was. Because number one, it was exclusive.
It was exclusive.
Everybody didn't know about it.
You didn't know about it.
You know what I'm saying?
I look at the pictures of the people that were in those rooms at the events we were throwing, and I'm like, what? Like, so-and-so was there? Like, what's the journalist? He does Rap Radar. Elliot was in there. DJ Cassidy would pull up. I want to say Janelle Monáe had been in there. Like, and these are people who were coming up. Jadena, who used to be in there. Like, but we didn't know who these people were. They weren't like on yet. They were just coming. But we were just creating this environment that we wanted. And to be honest, it was, you're saying old school New York, but you were the guys, you were the people that we looked up to. We couldn't wait to be of age to take part in what you guys were doing. But at that point, you guys had sort of moved on. And unless you were in the industry, that was the only spaces where it existed. Right. It wasn't just like a regular Monday, Tuesday, whatever, like it used to be. So we had to create it. Right. And at that time, that was like the last time I had like dealt with a promoter, because it was just now like, oh, we can create this shit. We can create this vibe. I can be in here and I can just play feel good shit and people are gonna rock with it.
Now, how did the money jump for you between 08 and like 2011?
It didn't jump the way I wanted. My brand elevated, but the money didn't really
jump.
Didn't really jump. The money, because now, you gotta remember I took a step back. So now I'm not dealing with, I'm hot, but I'm hot in the spaces where I'm creating the shit. Right. So when you create shit, there's overhead, there's this, that, and the third. So it's like, the money's more consistent, but it's not elevated. It ain't jumping, right. And also we're operating in a boutique space. Like we're not charging people, whatever. Like, so we're operating in a boutique space. We're making money off the bar. We're doing this and doing that. My money, in all honesty, and this is gonna sound wild, crazy, my money didn't jump until I left New York and moved to Vegas.
Until you went to Vegas.
So think about this. I started DJing full time in 2006. I moved to Vegas in 2015. Right. So 9 years later, that's when my money jumped. Right.
Before we jumped to Vegas, it was you made a name for yourself in our community, in our tribe, in our area. I remember the Bad Boy versus Rockefeller joint.
Yep.
I remember You know, a lot of the joints that you like would do with like Ty, shout to Ty.
Shout out to Tyler, man. Yeah, being Wine Festival.
I wasn't
Right,
outside
Tapping
at
Court,
that time. I had
right.
little kids. I
That's when you had the little
outside.
kids, right?
Yeah.
You know,
I missed that.
and that's kind of where I came to know you.
Yes.
From that space, right? From these things that were happening in our community. I remember you had this show. What was the show that you were on? You were DJing. It was out while I was living in Maryland, so it was like 2013.
Fuse TV?
Yeah, on Fuse.
No, was it? Yes, you're right. Yes.
Yeah, I was living in
Fuse
Maryland.
TV. So there was a show called the United States of Hip Hop.
United States Hip Hop.
Again, shout out to my brother Gideon. That's my brother. Like what Jada Kid say, I'll lay nigga down if you force me. Like over him. Like that is my brother.
Right.
He was over at Fuse at the time. Hit me. He was like, "Yo, it's a show. They need an in-house DJ, whatever." So he submitted me. So it was me and my homegirl was another bison, Crystal Devone, DJ C Devone. It's like, yo, you know, whatever. So we got it. So he submitted this. They chose me. It was a weekly talk show. It was a weekly show about current events in hip hop and stuff. We would have guests. So it was me, my man Sherrod Small, comedian.
Went to Morgan.
He went to Morgan, right? And that's Chris Rock's little cousin.
Right.
My man Jay Reed and Nicole Ryan. Shout out to Nicole Ryan. She was on Sirius XM, I think, at the time. And I was the in-house DJ. Yeah, so it was a weekly show. It lasted one season. I don't know why Fuse didn't get behind it. We were #1 in the ratings like every week. But, you know, TV.
Yeah, I used to tune in. So now Vegas happens, 2015, which is crazy because that's when I come home and then you go to Vegas. So now Vegas happens. Now tell me about that move.
So Vegas actually was my wife's idea. So my wife Shireen, we weren't married at the time. We were dating. When we first started dating, I was out. I was on my own. I had my own spot. But again, like I said, the money wasn't really money, and so like I had to move back home. So now we kind of in a space where it's like we can't really keep living like this. Like if we want to really do something. And then so she was like kind of over New York. And she was like, "Yo, I want to move to Vegas." My initial response was like, "Nah, nigga, I'm lying to myself." I'm like, "I'm in New York. Like I'm good. Like I'm a DJ in New York." Right? And then one day I was like, "Yo, this is absurd, B. Like I'm back at home. I gotta get out of here." So she, so I was like, "All right, let's do it." So we went down in 2014 just to visit, get a lay of the land, right? So funny enough, Mike was just happened to be out there during that time, so we linked up with him. And we going around, and the New Yorker in us, like I'm not a street nigga, but I'm from the street. You know what I'm saying? So like, when you got like sort of a street mentality, you like, oh,
I can get it.
Oh, I can get it out here.
Yeah, that's that.
So that was the attitude. So we were both like that. Like, okay, cool. So the next year, April 20th, I'll never forget, April 20th, 2015, I went out there like 4 months before because she was transferring with her job. She's a makeup artist. She was working on Mac at the time. They were transferred out there. So for me, I was just like, I need to get out there and get a lay of the land because I don't really know nobody out there.
Right.
And as a man, you got to be able to bring in some bread. Like I'm not moving out here a woman and just like whatever.
Right.
So I moved out there, and I was staying. Shout out to my homegirl Tanil. You know Tanil?
Yeah, I know Tanil.
Right.
Yeah, I know Tanil.
That's like my sister.
Yeah.
So she had moved out there a year before. This is how God works. So she moved out there a year before. She had a crib out there, and I didn't know. Jocelyn told me. So I'm like, yo, T, you know, we moving out there. I gotta move. You know, whatever. My bread ain't like that. Let me just crash with you for a little bit so I get myself situated. Say less, I got you. Moved out there. I stayed for like maybe 2 months, 2 or 3 months before Shireen came out, and I got an apartment when she came out. And Vegas was rough for me, like the first 6 months. I didn't DJ at all when I was out there.
You was working? You wasn't even working.
I wasn't even working. I came back to New York a couple times. I came back to New York a couple times.
And did some parties.
And then I would come back.
Right.
And so, but like, because Vegas, I didn't know. Like, I was treating it like New York. It's like, I feel like I just walk up and talk to somebody. Nah, it's all corporate. Ain't no manager at these venues on the strip that you could talk to. Like, so I'm online, like Googling, I'm Googling every venue in Vegas. I'm emailing everybody. I'm emailing agencies, everybody. Ain't nobody hit me back. So I emailed it was a beauty bar out there. Remember the beauty bar brand that was in New York? There was one out there. The guy asked me back. He's like, yo, pull up, let's meet. Pull up, he meets me. He's like, I'm telling him, like, yo, I'm from New York, da, da, da. I don't even got, so mind you, between these 4 and 6 months, I'm not practicing. I don't even have my turntable. I didn't bring my turntable with me.
You ain't even have your
I
equipment.
didn't have my equipment. All I had was my laptop.
Right.
So 4 to 6 months, I'm not doing nothing to stay sharp.
Right.
So I reach out to them, and they're like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, all right, we'll try you. So I do. Actually, I'm tripping. Pull back. So Mike had introduced me to what was another good friend. He's like my brother now. He's my brother now. My brother EJ out in Vegas. Mike had connected me with him. So EJ was kind of in the industry adjacent. He was in the industry before I got there, so we had a bunch of friends. So he's plugging me with everybody, and I'm sort of trying to make headway, but it's still a bit of a trek. So, like I said, I used to hoop. I met a dude. There was a dude here who plugged me with another guy in Vegas. He was doing an event at the SLS called White Label Thursdays. They had a DJ battle. Again, I don't have no equipment.
And you ain't been practicing.
And I ain't been practicing. They had a DJ battle called Backspin to the Future, or some shit like that. It was a party rock battle. You had to play from 3 genres from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I was like, all right, cool, this is easy. So all I did was create a set list. I couldn't practice it. In my mind, looking at BPMs, this works, whatever. I get there. It wasn't my cleanest set, but I fucking kill it. Now this room is filled with mad DJs in Vegas, established DJs in Vegas. The guy who threw the party said I got robbed and I should have won it. A couple of people were coming like, you got robbed, you should have killed him. That's how I became ingratiated with the DJ community in Vegas, off of that party.
Right.
Met my man DJ Ease, was a phenomenal DJ. He was like, yo, and I didn't even know who he was. This motherfucker has like ridiculous DJ battle titles and championships, whatever. He was like, nah, you were nice, you killed him. So I did that, and then after that, I started my residency at Beauty Bar. They loved me. So then Beauty Bar got me rocking. And then what I noticed about Vegas, all the people on the strip, they would do what they call outings. So if you're in the industry, they would do outings. If you're a host or promoter or whatever, you work for a club, outings. Where they would do their outings was downtown Vegas. This is where Beauty Bar was. So now I'm in Beauty Bar killing them. So now they're seeing me in Beauty Bar.
Because they're coming to the outings.
I want to say February 2016.
Right.
I get booked to headline LAX nightclub. And after that, things just start.
So forth. But you know what? Something you said is wild, because there's a thing with losing, but people respecting your skill set and a loss. Like how people are like, nah, you got robbed. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes that person gains more out of the situation than the person that wins.
You see that all the time. You see that like
absolutely.
On American Idol.
That's such a thing.
Said it, you got to lose to win.
That's the thing. Sometimes when you lose, people respect your loss so deeply that you become endeared to them. It's like, he should have won.
Especially if it's like a situation when they feel you got robbed.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, oh got it.
He's the guy.
So so after that, it was just like, it just started to just snowball, and until it was so wild, we'll probably get to this further on in the conversation. I never realized how I was viewed by other DJs. Like this other DJ, I don't know if you saw on Instagram, like every DJ's been posting when was the first time you heard me DJ? Like it's like a trend thing, right? So this other DJ, he posted it, I shit you not. His name is DJ AR, shout out to DJ AR, he's out in Vegas. He was DJing a different DJ battle and I saw him there. But when I saw him, like aesthetically, he looked just like me. So my first thought was like, who's this motherfucker back my shit?
Right.
But then he was DJing, and I'm like, yo, this dude is like, it was like super nice. And so we're talking about this online, like the other day, and he was like that battle was epic, and I had a great time. He said, but I actually, what the best part was like, I got to meet the GOAT of Las Vegas DJs, and he was referring to me.
Wow, that's crazy.
And a lot of DJs in Vegas, I wouldn't say that they would say the GOAT, but they revere me in such a high thing. And I think it's because of this. A lot of people question why I went to Vegas because they know Vegas. My style as a DJ doesn't match Vegas. I was so ignorant and arrogant enough to not even want to know what a Vegas style was. I just went and I was DJ CEO.
Right.
And they loved it. Every room on the strip, I don't care what it is. These guys in here, they doing these Vegas sets with these EDM, hip hop mashups.
Right.
Now I'm giving you what I know and how I know how to do it.
Contrast is.
And they loved it, and the people who came to Vegas loved it because even though they love to come to Vegas and get shit faced and have a good time, they're not coming from. Like there are people who come from small towns who want the Vegas experience, but a lot of these people are coming from places that have culture. They're coming from LA, they're coming from New York, they're coming from London, they're coming from Miami.
They ain't come from Brooklyn.
Right, they're not coming from
Podunk.
Yeah, so they don't want this fist pumping shit.
And the fact of the matter is EDM in its nature is a tourist thing. It's not a homegrown thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't exist in spaces of authenticity.
Right. So because of that, I just was revered, and I think I was revered by the DJs because I think also coming from New York, we have this I don't give a fuck attitude. Like I'm gonna do what I want to do, right? A lot of them kind of play it safe. This is Vegas. This is how we play. And I was like, nah. I remember being in Dre's after hours DJing. Skrillex and DJ. Shit, he's on DJ. I can't remember his name. DJ Ruckus. On multiple occasions, were in there when they came. They was like, "Yo, you were fucking killing it," because I would be in there not being a Vegas DJ. I mix and how I transition and all this type of stuff.
So the contrast, it was contrast.
Right.
Like people come to Vegas and assume one thing, and you were giving them contrast.
I was playing Afrobeat and Dre's. Like nobody was doing that shit. Like real Afrobeat, not just the radio shit.
Right.
Like real Afrobeat.
Right.
DJs looking over my shit like, yo, what's that? It's like, yo, you can't like. So that's what made me successful, and I think I want to believe because I never asked this question. That's why I was revered. And then I got connected with, shout out to my man Eddie Mack with the Mack agency. Him and his coach, his agency. And once I got on his agency, they're all about the culture.
Right.
So then it was like being home. So
Right.
that's what everybody did over there.
Right.
Before he came along, it wasn't a lot of that.
Right.
His agency came. So on his agency is me, Mel Star, my man Jay Crazy, Skills, VA's on Mad Skills is on there. DJ Active out of Philly's on there. Like it's just straight culture.
So now you are kind of in the space of success. The money's up. You out there, you and your shorty out there, you far from home. But you are living in your purpose.
Yes.
What was that like? Were you happy? I know that's a loaded question because you're far from home. Like,
No. I was happy, but everything wasn't happy because my wife was having a miserable time.
Ooh.
Even though it was her
idea.
Vegas didn't receive her the way it received me. A lot of that has to do with race, right? Black men, for the most part, in pop culture spaces, are welcome because we are what they consider to be the prototype of cool, right? Black women are perceived as less than and a threat, right? Because the white women want the black men, or the Asian and Filipino want the black men.
Right.
We can't rock, so she had dealt with her own like issues there. So it was there was a lot of rough times, even between her and I, because is this your idea? I didn't want to, and I got on board, and I'm like killing it, and so there was a rough time. But I mean, from a professional standpoint, it's the best decision I ever made in my life, and I love that. And we do love Vegas. We made some great friends, And so, and we're supposed to move into Atlanta, but in the recent months, we've been having conversations that, maybe we do go back to Vegas,
So when do you come back home?
Came back home in 2020 because during the pandemic.
Damn, you was out there for 5 years?
5 years. And what's crazy is that that's what was our goal. We said we're gonna go there for 5 years and then we're gonna leave.
Right.
But it was never to come back.
Right.
We go 5 years, we was gonna move to LA, and was even considering leaving the country.
Right.
What happened was the pandemic hit, and we were cool. We had the best time in the fucking pandemic. All we did was smoke weed and watch Netflix.
Right. Right.
We were good. My dad had been battling dementia for a long time. And during the pandemic, he wasn't able to move. Like, before that, my mom, they would walk downtown, they would be able to get around. So now you got dementia, and dementia requires you to be kind of stimulated all the time for you to maintain your health. So now he's just kind of stuck. So I'm watching him rapidly deteriorate. Rapidly. And I'm going through it because I'm all the way in Vegas. I can't be there. I can't be there to help my mom and my sister take care of him. Like, I'm feeling terrible. So, we're talking. It's like, maybe we go back. So we moved back on election night, November 3rd, 2020.
Wow.
I drove from Vegas to New York in a day and a half.
Wow. Hold on a minute. Do you hear that sound?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's the heat. I think it's the heat.
Yo, that shit.
I know.
I was hearing it. I was like, oh.
I felt like you were back before then. I didn't realize you didn't come back until November 20th.
But so at that time, I'm so like, popular, I guess, or
Right.
piping hot.
Right.
As in, I'm back and forth in New York a lot.
Right.
Like prior to the pandemic, I was back and forth in New York at least 4 or 5 times a year.
Right.
And when I'm doing it, it's for these big events.
Right.
So my visibility, it's not like I'm just
high.
coming in to visit on under the radar.
Right.
My visibility is high.
Right.
So anytime I come home, everybody's pulling up
Right.
because I'm home. So
Right.
that's why it might have seemed that way, but I came back in 2020.
So, tell me about DJ CEO today. Like I see you. Like I said, you're busy. You're working. You lost your father around the same time I lost my father. When did you lose your father?
July 28th, 2021.
Okay, yeah. My father passed away August 21st, 2020.
Right, because I remember we were talking about it. I hit you up right after yours died, and we were talking about that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So where you at now, in terms of your career, in terms of your marriage, in terms of your plans? You talk about moving to Atlanta. I'm telling you, chill on Atlanta. There's a lot of other places you can go than Atlanta, but tell me kind of where you are now with it.
Well, I'm gonna say this: New York hasn't been the best situation from a career standpoint.
New York is wild.
Moving back.
Yeah, New York
right?
is wild. We living in New York like we millionaires. Like New York is fucking crazy.
It's crazy. I saw a meme today. It said, "What do you do?" But it's like, "What's some rich people shit that you do?"
Live in New York.
It's like, live in New York.
Yeah,
like, I'm not rich. Like,
I'm not rich. I ain't supposed to be here.
Yeah. It hasn't been the best because New York has changed. Like it changed while I was gone, but post pandemic, like as far as what I do for a living, like New York City is a whole different place, right? It's almost becoming Vegas in how they operate. You can't get a hold of anybody. There's nobody's emailing you back. There's no, like, it's really bad. Like before, like I said, you could email, phone. That shit is dead. New York even, like when we talk about that prime time, like 2009, 2011, like it was very, whatever we would consider multicultural, like it was like that peak of that. It's very whitewashed now, right? You look at all the agencies in New York, all the DJs, all white, all of them. It's not an easy city to navigate anymore. And that's coming from a native New Yorker, right? From the personal side, I don't want to get in that to put all that stuff out. Me and my wife are great, but we've had to deal with certain things from people within the family that just making life difficult for us.
Understood.
So, we are ready to go. But in all of that, I have grown so much spiritually. I'm operating in a completely different vibration. Like I am so up here, like with it. I used to want the world to receive my gift. I used to want everybody to be like, you gotta come. This, what I'm doing, what I'm bringing, this shit is amazing. All you need to be on is Russia, Afghanistan, London, Tanzania. Y'all need some of this shit.
Right.
Not anymore.
Right.
Now it's like, this is for who it's supposed to be for. So when you operate in that space, you don't operate out of anxiety. I create what I create, and I attract what I attract. And I'm in such a spirit, like I don't operate, I think I've always operated in the space, I just wasn't aware of it, but now that I'm aware of it, I guess that's what's elevated the level of my vibration now. I'm a healer. I heal people through music. When you come to a DJ CEO set, I'm not just playing records, I'm playing vibrations. As human beings, we are made up of vibrations. Our molecules, our spirit is made up of a vibration. So I'm connecting with you through that. That's how I operate. So when you come hear me, it's not, he did a dope Drake set or what. No, you're getting something that when you walk out, you're gonna feel better than you did when you came in. Because truthfully, that's always been the principle as a DJ. Like, you understand, like, yo, this person only gets one Saturday night out the week. I can't fuck this shit up. Like, somebody came in here, they got divorced. Somebody here, they got engaged. Somebody here lost a job. Somebody got a promotion. Somebody, like, it's all these different
family members.
Right,
right.
All these different energies.
Right.
My job is to get all you guys together and tethered on this one thing, so you can just enjoy yourselves. Because some people came to let go, some people came to celebrate. Whatever it may be, my job is to get you all in one accord. Right? Because the person that got the job, got the promotion, don't even fuck about the person that lost a family member.
Right.
But I have to, right? That's what it is.
Right.
So, but I always understood that principle, but now I'm solely operating from a spiritual standpoint. So when I play, like, I talk about, like, I smoke, I'm in the cannabis space, like I smoke weed. For me, smoking weed is genuinely, and I mean this so heartily, like, I smoke before I do every set because I want to remove myself. And I want to connect to the higher power that gave me this gift. So when you get this gift, you're not getting me. You're getting God. You're not getting me. You are getting God solely. So I try to eliminate myself from it and just give you my gift as pure as possible. And through that, you are going to be healed, right? So whether I'm playing disco, whether I'm playing amapiano, whether I'm playing Afrobeat, whether I'm playing hip hop, it's going to be me incorporating my energy, my vibration into the vibrations that exist with this music, and I'm giving it to you. So you're gonna get it like it's brand new, and you're gonna hear music like you've never heard it before. So when I'm playing, like I wish you guys could have made it Saturday, because that's what it was. So if, I'm playing.
I know it was. I know.
I'm playing amapiano.
I didn't even know it was
right?
you, dog.
I'm playing amapiano and then Earth, Wind and Fire and then Kate Tronada and then, like, it's just, and there's no, I don't play anything that vibrates on a dark, low level. Like, none of it. I don't want to name names. If y'all probably know who. Like, I don't play none of that shit.
Right.
If this shit don't make you feel joy, it don't make you get up and dance, I'm not touching it.
Right.
So that's how I operate. And this is all part of my spiritual
What
growth.
I'll tell you is last month at Saints, you had it on too. Like, the people in there were loving it. And it's sort of the thing, like, I always talk about how, because I know a lot of DJs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, when I'm in a spot and I know the DJ, the point where I forget that I know the DJ is the point where the music is like, so and I felt that way at Saints. It was like, yo, like, you don't even think about a CEO anymore. You thinking about the music.
Did you see the post I did? I was DJing at this spot. I was DJing at the Lux Flux. It's part of Webster Hall.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm DJing. And I don't know if you notice this, and you go, like, people who like to just stare at the DJ. Why are you staring at me?
Right.
You have no
I
idea.
saw that video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the crowd like, stop staring at me. I told them. I said, no, I said, yo, I'm gonna take y'all to church. Like, yo, talk to your neighbor.
Right.
Dance with your neighbor.
Right.
Like, y'all are here for this communal experience.
Right.
This is my mission. This is
Right.
my mission, Marlon. I'm telling you. My mission is to get the human beings to get back to enjoying the human experience. We live and operate in the real world as if we're on our phone.
Yes.
So we stare.
Yes.
No, you need to dance with a
We don't
stranger,
experience.
dance with your friends,
Right.
whatever. Operate in this space. So I'm telling them this, like, yo, you don't. I said, you're not here for me. I'm here for you. Understand that.
Right.
So that moment you talk about when it's like you don't realize it's the CEO no more.
Right.
Like, you shouldn't care. I mean, I want you to care because it helps me from a
Right.
business standpoint.
Right.
But like, in this moment, with this couple of hours where I have you, don't give a fuck. It's not about me.
Right.
You need to enjoy this experience that's happening now. And then once we come out of this, you could be like, yo, CEO, that was fire.
Right.
That was
But
dope.
for me, like the reason why I say it like that is because I'm always looking at things as a producer, right? So I'm not a consumer. Like, I don't care where I am. I don't care who's spinning. I'm in the space like a producer. So I'm analyzing.
Yeah, I got you.
And some of the same way that you are,
Yeah.
I'm analyzing.
Yeah.
But if you could take me out of analyzing and into the experience, then you're doing an excellent job.
Like I said, it ain't me, it's God.
You know what I'm
I've
saying?
been telling people that, yo. They be asking, they was like, yo, when you did this, I'm like, I played that? Because I'm not making this up. I am not stretching this. I'm not exaggerating. When my set is over, I don't remember one song I played.
Right.
For me, it was the very last Tamra block party that we did, October
Yes.
2022.
Yes.
You were like
That's-
right behind me.
Yes.
That's what it was.
That was an amazing
That was
experience.
that was it.
That was an
And Tam's been
amazing
doing me dirty ever
experience.
since.
Now,
I
they've
mean,
been doing me dirty
yo,
ever since. You know what I'm saying?
Tamra doesn't
Nah,
like-
chill. Hold on, wait. Hold on. You ain't been doing me dirty. I love you, girl. But see, what I'm going to tell you what happened with Tamra, and I'm going to explain it to the crowd. What happened was the DJ MoMA set. When I brought MoMA out there, May 15th, 2022, it changed the very scope of Tamra because at the time, MoMA is everyday people. And it was a 90-degree day that day.
Oh, so like,
And so 5,000 people hit the block.
right.
No incidents, but it was super packed. At 7 o'clock when Tam was supposed to be over, nobody left.
Nobody left.
Nobody left till 10 o'clock. Now, mind you, we're coming off of us ending in 21 the way that we ended.
Yo,
Was that 21 or 20?
That was 21.
22.
That was 21.
I was 21 because
That was
remember 2020 is
21.
the pandemic.
Right.
So 2021
Right,
is
so
the
that
first
was
time like we
21.
really outside.
So
Okay.
when we ended 21, it was a movie.
Yo,
Right.
like-
and so when we started back up,
Right, and then we started back up 22 with MoMA.
And that was the
so
beginning of
CEO
the
was
season.
the last one,
Yeah.
and then the first one was MoMA.
You got two of the best DJs to come out of New York City at a certain time, ending and starting.
It was crazy.
That was the wrong idea. Like,
was the
I should
best
not have done
idea.
that. Right, I should not have done that. So from
It was a
that,
moment in time.
It was.
What else
it was,
were you gonna
it was
do?
classic. It was perfect. It was
Yo.
chef's kiss.
Yo,
Right? But because of that, the cops, I said with the 7-9 precinct, they was like, yo, you trying to do Afro punk every week. You can't do Afro punk every week. We saw how you ended in October, now you come back in May. So from there, I was shut. Then what happened was that next week, Kwanzaa Crawl happened. Because remember, Kwanzaa Crawl in 2021 was canceled because of Omicron. So Kwanzaa Crawl came back in 22 in the summertime.
oh shit.
You know what else was that next weekend? Biggie's 50th birthday party was May 22nd, 2022. So you had Biggie's 50th, you had Kwanzaa Crawl, and you had the remnants of MoMA. And they blamed all of it on us.
Yo,
And that was
I'm
the
gonna
start.
and I'm gonna tell you this, Kai. That one in 2021, I was high as shit. So when I tell you it wasn't me,
Yeah.
like when I look back at the video, I'm like,
And all of the people on the street.
Yo.
like-
Yo, that
and the
shit
cops,
was
like,
amazing.
I have the best video
That shit,
ever.
let me tell you how
I want you to
amazing
see
it
your
was.
video.
I have to
wanna
show
see
you
your
the video.
yeah.
Let me tell you how amazing it was. It was so amazing when we closed out Tama that year. The entire block was packed, and Bevon had Mr. C inside. Afterwards, I'm sitting out on the block. Cops is on the block. Cops is talking to me like, yo, What you gonna do about this? I'm like, yo, I can't do nothing. Like, what you talking about? What do you want me to do? I can't do shit about it. This is all your fault. And I sat there in the moment when I was talking to the cops. Shout out to 7-9, they're all my peoples. And it was just a sea of people that not only did they not want to leave, but when you talk about the human experience, I looked at their faces.
Yo, that's it.
Oh my God.
That's
it made
it.
me feel so good. I think I sent a text today. I sent a text to somebody. I took a picture and I was like, yo, look at what we did. Like,
Yo, it's that, but that is the why.
right.
That is the purpose of why, from a DJ standpoint, anyway. That is why I do what I do for that. Like, we are living in wild times, right? People are dealing with wild shit. And as black folks, particularly in this country, our shit is always like extra heavy. Like, we got, just being black in America, this is the shit that's on our shoulder. And then whatever else comes that everybody got to deal with, we got to act that. So for a couple hours, yo,
Right.
I just want to take that shit off your shoulder so you can feel rejuvenated. Because you still have to carry that when you leave. You need, I'm just trying to give you a moment of spiritual rest for a couple of hours. If I can do that for you.
Date, July 13th.
Right. July 13th, right?
Yeah. If
I
I can do that for you.
I need him at a stoop set too, right?
Yeah, yo.
you got
I was pissed. I had to go DJ a wedding.
Yeah, you was dressed for the wedding.
I had to go DJ a wedding, so I stopped through for a second. Yeah.
Let's get to a few comments because we're like
way
over
by. I know.
right
I've been
now.
looking at the clock.
Taisha, I don't think CEO was aware when others around him were aware of his light. That's what she said.
Shout out to Ty. But so I'm gonna tell you that. So Ty's a really good friend of mine. Ty.
Damn. That's loud.
So Taisha, I was DJing when I met my wife. I had just left DJing her. She did like some event in the park. I DJ'd her event. And when I left that event, the next event I went to do DJ. That's when
you met your wife.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Taisha's a really, really good friend of mine.
Which Ty is that, Kai?
Taisha Delp, right?
KIC.
Oh, that's Chick NYC. So yeah, shout out to Ty. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's funny that she says that because I don't know if you guys saw the post that I made about me kind of really coming to understand that I haven't been walking in my greatness. Since then, I've had so many friends reach out to me that have said, like, I don't think you understand, like, what you do for us. Like, the inspiration you've been to us, that your light, that your greatness. And I don't, the reason why I don't is because nobody tells me. You know when you creating shit, it gets lonely.
Right.
Like when you doing stuff, it gets lonely.
Right.
Nobody know, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So only since I made that post like a week ago, have people been reaching out to me and telling me like, no, CEO, like, your light, the reason why we come to you and around is because of your light, because of who you are, because of how you go about what you do, because of what you do to us when you're playing. But nobody's ever said that to me. So imagine you feel like you're walking in this purpose and you're in this spiritual walk and doing this thing, and it feels like echoes, right? It's like you say it and it just echoes because there's nobody there to bounce it off of.
Right.
Now, because I did that post, people are now reaching out to me like, no, bro, like, I don't think you understand. Like, you inspire all of us. And so it feels good because I need that. Anybody who creates for the community needs that to know, like, I'm being seen. Because the community doesn't necessarily facilitate in a way that you would want to from a business standpoint. I've had a friend, I won't call out because I love her to death. She's a sweet, amazing woman. She's a great friend. She's in PR. And I used to watch her do PR for other people. And I was like, yo, why didn't you even want to work with me? Right? And her response was, you just look like you had everything together, like you didn't need my help. And I was like, that is wild to think that. Everybody needs everybody. Somebody comes to somebody comes to Jay-Z or Beyonce, somebody comes to successful people and go, I have this thing, I want to work with you, and it's because of what you do.
Right.
But I think people genuinely felt because I'm not the guy that's going to get on social media and give you the...
Nah, but I'm going to tell you what it is, and then we'll go to other questions, but I'm going to tell you what it is. The fact of the matter is, we're all trotting this path blind to the options. So a lot of people don't understand what winning looks like. They don't understand how longevity looks, right? Like you don't understand how longevity looks until you've walked that path, unless you have a mentor that explains to you the infrastructure of longevity, right? So a lot of people could be successful in their silo and be successful in their path, but in doing so, they are either ignorant or blind to the other avenues that are existing. So it's almost like an exit. Like, so say you want to BQE and you can get off exit 7 and that's going to take you a quicker route to where you want to go. But because you don't understand the map, you just keep going the way you know how to go. And that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times, and that's why you got to give people grace, because a lot of times, even in success, people really don't understand the infrastructure of it. You know what I'm saying? That's why for us, and we spoke about it as well, it's very important for us to connect with our tribe. It's very important. Partnership is very important for us. Because I know what I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm clear on what I don't know. And having people in place, in position that know the things I don't know helps me out immensely.
And you know what else? People look at me, especially because I've been really good at branding, right? So people look at me and their first thought is, I can't afford you.
Right.
You don't know that.
Right.
You have no idea.
Damn, I wanted to get to Rashidi. Shout out to Rashidi.
Shout out to my brother Rashidi.
Yeah, shout out to
Rashidi's my manager.
That's my peoples, man. That's my peoples, man. I'm glad that you when you connected with him, because Rashidi's a good guy.
Really, really good.
Like
guy.
He's just a real good guy.
Yeah.
So when you connected on that, it made total sense. Let's go to the questions, though.
There aren't any, but people were just, chiming in. My guy, CEO, who was Debonair was in the building.
Shout out to Debonair.
Sean, OSC Paper Chase.
Oh yeah, that's my guy.
Big
Sean's my
homie,
guy.
CEO. Chip Fu said what's up. I'm trying to scroll
Shout
back.
to Chip.
Shout out to Chip Fu.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah, shout out to Chip.
the first cassette I ever bought with my own money.
Fushnickens?
Fushnickens.
Wow.
Yo, let me tell you something.
And I did everything I could to try to learn his rhyme.
Yo, let me tell you something. And I want to be as clear as possible to the audience and to y'all. A few months back, Chip took me to the studio. It was a Sunday. He came and picked me up at my crib, and me and him rode to a studio in Manhattan. I sat in that studio, and Chip played me like 30 songs. When I tell you, he got bangers.
No, I know he do.
Nah.
I know.
Let me tell you something. He's sitting on bangers. Like Chip has shit. Like I said, it was a big leather couch, one of those big studio couches. I'm sunk in the couch, I'm drinking, and I'm like, bruh, like really? Why is this not out? I'm telling you, shout to Chip, he got bangers.
I thought this was going a different direction. I thought you were going to say that you rhyme.
No, I'm done with rhyming. I'm retired.
Are you used to rhyme?
Yeah, I used to rhyme.
We got to tell Tech you.
Yeah, I used to rhyme. But for me, it's just like you said. My experience in the culture was I just wanted in. I would do anything. I danced. One time, I was out to DJ Smooth C. I used to have a friend that was a DJ. He went to Westbury at the time, but he was a DJ. And he used to do like Sweet 16 parties, house parties. And I just wanted to be in a party, so I would carry his records. Then I was at a party, and somebody asked me if I was the dancer. And so I said, yes, I was the dancer. So then I go back to Cyril. I'm like, yo, niggas think I'm the dancer. You know what I'm saying? He's like, all right, we'll dance. Like, and I was dancing, and I'm not a dancer. But for me, it was always like, I don't care about hook or crook. I got to be part of this thing. There's an electricity in this culture that I just got to... It came from block party days.
Okay, so DJ Trauma, he said spun a set with CEO this past Saturday.
Yes, Trauma, my brother.
There you go. You ain't a 10.
He's an amazing DJ.
Shout out to Trauma.
Super high vibrational. We got to collab again.
Yeah, we definitely. Trauma is my guy. We definitely got to collab.
That's my guy.
And Trauma is such a good dude.
He is.
Like I think in this industry, it's so important to surround yourself with good people, right? Because you have to. What I learned is like you want to work with people that you like, and that you can trust, right? And he's just such a solid.
I went to junior high school with his older brother.
Word.
And I didn't know. I think Trauma's older than me. I didn't know him.
He's younger than me. Yeah, I went to junior high
Trauma's
school
like
with his
Kevin
older
He's
brother.
like 40, like 79. He's like a 79.
Right, because I'm 43.
Yeah, he's
Salute,
like a 79.
wait, and then we're gonna log off. Salute, bro, CEO, great interview. Marlon, salute. Mr. Life of your party.
Oh, that's my man.
That's
Fly
my
Tie.
man, Fly Tie.
Fly Tie.
Fly Tie, we gotta get you on here, Fly Tie.
So Fly
All
Tie.
right, Fly Tie, come on.
Fly Tie was one of those people who I said, like, after I did my post, who reached out to me.
Yeah.
He called, he was like, yo, bro, like, he thought I was saying, like, people were saying, like I'm not great. And but I was trying to tell him, like, no, they were saying, like, you are off of what you were doing. You need to get back to that. You need to be back in your greatness. You need to whatever. So him and I had a long talk, and he was pouring into me. Just
Yo,
like,
let me tell you something.
bro,
I fucking love Ty. Cause Ty is one of those dudes that created a way for himself. Like his path that he's on, he created that shit
himself.
Lock, stock, and barrel. It was dirt before he paved it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Ty's my dude.
And I used to, real quick before we go off, I'm a DOE vendor, so I used to teach creative writing at a junior high school in East New York. I hear music coming from one of the classrooms. I walk to the classroom. It's Ty. He's teaching DJing at. I didn't know he was a vendor.
He's trying to pull me in.
Bro,
he's like, bro, the school
Ty's
got
that
money.
dude, man.
Like,
I love Ty. Ty, and again, come from good stock. His mother's a good woman.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ty. All right, so look, I know it's almost 9 o'clock. We could have talked forever because, you know, this is family. And I'm sorry, Kai. Kai's like, yeah, I got to get out of here. It's time to go home.
That's it.
All right, so next Tuesday we'll be back. We got a good one next Tuesday, right, Kai?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a good one next Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see y'all.
All right. Peace.
Peace.